Nelson with Cascade Sports, and today we have the head coach of Tennessee State football team, Mr. Rod Reed, and also we have coach and athletic director of Lincoln Preparatory Academy here in Kansas City, Coach Ryan Glasgow. Hey, how you doing, Coach? As in Tennessee State.
Doing well, doing well. Happy to be here, man.
Hey, Coach. How you doing, Coach Glasgow?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
You good? All right. Hey,
Yes, sir.
Coach Reed. What I want you to do real quick in synopsis, basically, can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay, my name is Rod Reed. I'm a graduate of Tennessee State University. I played here from '84 to '88. I played linebacker, played with some really good football teams. Played with some really good players, man. But I'm originally from Marshall, Texas. That's East Texas. And my dad actually played here at Tennessee State University for the legendary John Merritt. He was actually, I know he was John Merritt's first All-American football player here at Tennessee State University. And I had an opportunity to, visit a couple of colleges coming out of high school, and I chose Tennessee State as my path also, with a little nudging. But I graduated from Tennessee State, and then I began my coaching career at Prairie View A&M University down in Texas as a graduate assistant. And I went from Prairie View I got hired on at Morehouse for about 2 weeks.
Let me interrupt you just for a second.
Go ahead.
Talk about some of the coaches and people that help you build your skill set to get where you're at.
Okay, yeah, I was going to get to
props.
I was going to get to that. Like I said, I went from there, and then I went to when I got to Morehouse, I got a phone call to Bethune-Cookman from Sylvester Collins, and Sylvester Collins was a former Jackson State coach. He's one of my first mentors there. He called me and asked if I come down to Bethune-Cookman and coach the linebackers down there. And I went down there and worked under Sylvester Collins, and then learned a lot from him and the game, especially from an offensive perspective. Being a defensive coach, you want to know as much offense as you can to try to combat the things that they do. So I was always in his office picking his brain, about offensive strategies and what you guys were trying to do with 3 wide, 4 wide, with 2 tight ends in the game. What was the thought process? So he was one of the first ones who I really just picked their brains and wanted to learn more about football. And I went from there back to East Texas Baptist University. It was a startup program, but I was given an opportunity to be defensive coordinator there. And it was in my hometown. My dad at the time was having some health problems, so I thought it'd be a good move for me and my family. So I coached for a guy named Ralph Harris. And Ralph Harris was my old high school coach, actually, and didn't really know how much football. I learned more, I think, coaching D3 football than I learned, throughout my whole career, just because of the talent that you were dealing with, the detail that you had to be very detailed on things that you were doing. You were playing with limited talent, but we actually built that program from 2000 to 2003 when I left to become the defensive coordinator here at Tennessee State University. In 3 years, that team, the year I left, they went to the semis in the national playoff deal. So Ralph Harris was another guy that learned a lot of football from. And then, you got guys like Simon McLaren, who I was involved with down at Bethune-Cookman. And one of the most eccentric guys that I've been around, he's known probably more for his flash, but Alvin Wyatt, they call him Shine. He's a MEAC Hall of Fame coach. He played in the NFL, but he was a graduate of Bethune-Cookman when I was there. He was a defensive coordinator, and he's known for his sideline, attire and all that. But he was a really, really good football coach. I picked his brain a lot also. And athletic director-wise, Lynn Thompson. But I take a little bit of Joe Gillum, Craig Gillum. Craig Gillum was defense coordinator here at Tennessee State when I was here. He also was a D-line coach for Richard Dent and all those guys here at Tennessee State University. The late Bill Thomas was my head coach here. Learned a lot of football from him, before and after, in my coaching rise. When I was coaching as an assistant, as a coordinator, Bill Thomas then was the head coach at Texas Southern. And, had an opportunity to visit with him on several occasions. So it's been a lot of guys, man. Like I said, Cy McLaren. I'm probably going back way too far for some of these coaches on here. Cy McLaren is an old school Bethune-Cookman guy, that you just learn the ends. It ain't all about football all the time. When you're talking about mentorship, it's about handling your program. It's about relating to the student athletes. And there's a generation gap, right now with these guys. So, I'm kind of in the middle of that. I'm an old school guy, but, you got to kind of make the transition to text messages and kind of meeting these guys where they are right now and meeting their needs and what they need. And I'm more, face-to-face communication. And look at us right now, we're Zooming. If you want to communicate with your team these days, you better have a good, front rush or group knee or something like that, because that's how these kids communicate now. And so, right. Yeah, you want to talk about some guys, Coach Gillum, man, Joe Gillum. I know I'm spending a lot of time, but Joe Gillum, man, I sit at the foot of his couch, on several occasions, and you get Coach Gillum to talking about football, you're going to be in his house for about 3 or 4 hours. This is after he retired, and I got the job here as a coordinator. But Joe Gillum Sr., man, he's in the College Football Hall of Fame, College Football Hall of Fame down in Atlanta. So there's a lot of guys. I mean, I can go on and on. Joe Taylor, Coach Joe Taylor that was probably one of the biggest wins. We went to play FAMU when I think my first or second year as head coach, and Joe Taylor was the coach. And man, and I'm in my first year, and I'm like, man, I'm going up against Joe Taylor. He'd been at Hampton, and we beat him. And we beat him for a couple of years, and then he gave me a nickname that he called me when he see me. Is I can't say it over there, but it's a little running joke that he has, a kicker. That's what he called me. But man, Coach Taylor's always had a receptive ear and whatnot, and that was I take more. I got a plaque on my wall over there with that article when we beat Florida A&M, and he was coaching, because that was like, man, I just was able to, as a head coach, get a victory over one of the legends, and I thought that was real special to me, man.
I'm gonna let Coach Glasgow chop it up with you, because he deals with the football and all of that, and y'all keep it rolling.
So, Coach, my question to you right now is with the COVID-19, like you're speaking about Zoom and all of that, GroupMe and all the social media outlets that you have to use to keep up with your players. Right now, how is your recruiting situation going with Tennessee State? How are you guys kind of reinventing yourselves with that due to the pandemic? And how are you guys being kind of creative and staying in touch with, obviously, the guys you already have on your roster, but the new guys coming in and closing out your scholarships and all of that?
Well, with the guys that we have on roster, man, we try to follow the same meeting schedule that we would have as if they were here. So, we'll staff in the morning. I'll staff with my guys. Every morning we staff, we just go kind of through some daily events. Even now, we Zoom meet in the morning just to make sure that we're on top of things. And, being at the FCS level, you don't have the support staff. I don't have guys calling. You go to these big schools and they got 14, 15 guys, just doing ancillary work. I don't have guys to do that. So we have to meet, in the mornings and make sure that our shop is in order. And then after that, we'll get on individually with our players and do some individual stuff. But at 2:45 every day, they'll have individual Zoom meetings. And, if I have something to say to the team during those meetings, we'll jump on, and we try to keep it creative, because, you're only going to get about 30, 45 minutes of these guys, undivided attention on the Zoom call. And part of that, you get these virtual backgrounds, and we talked yesterday. I told them I didn't want to see any more virtual backgrounds during Zoom meetings, because you just got the phone laying on the bed or something. And, so We want them to be attentive. You know, we try to keep it close to the vest. You know, we have different people come on. Our chaplain came on yesterday and had a word of prayer with those guys. And, you know, I have our academic person come on once a week just to talk about academics and, you know, final exams, which were this past week, and things that we need to be doing. So we try to keep it fresh. We get them doing some challenges by groups, push-up challenges, you know, counting their running on their phone. You know, all the workouts are voluntary right now, but we try to create challenges within the group to work out. And then when they come back, you know, we'll have a T-shirt or something for the winner of those groups. Who got the most, which group got the most mileage in that week, or who did the most push-ups, or whatever the case may be. With the gyms being closed and whatnot, you got to do a lot of body weight stuff and exercises. So we try to keep it, you know, fun. I'm going to start something next week with Motivation Mondays, and we're going to have some guys like DRC, Anthony Levine, you know, get in on some team meeting calls and talk to those guys, our NFL guys. We just had a kid drafted by the Chicago Bears. We'll have him to talk to some of his former teammates. And we had a kid signed free agent, Chris Rowland. Those guys are still out there grinding. So you got to try to keep it fresh. You don't want to wear them out. And I tell my coaches, you know, try to keep it as brief as possible, but to get as much out of the meeting as you can.
Right. Do you guys have a big recruiting base in the Midwest area in this? Do you guys pull a lot of kids from Missouri?
You know, we're mostly in the Southeast, but, you know, we have gotten some kids out of St. Louis in that area. You know, we're trying to extend our arm up to Detroit a little bit. We got a big alumni base up there. But if you send me a guy and he's a player, you know, we'll definitely reach out and I'll get a coach up there to see him, or we'll try to get him down here on a visit, you know, if he fits what we're doing down there. So the answer is yes and no. Our general recruiting area is going to be the Southeast Tennessee, you know, and I'm from Texas. So we got some roots out there in Texas, in the Houston and Dallas area. My sister's a coach there in Dallas. So we got a few kids from those areas, but we definitely are going to go where the talent leads us.
Right. And I don't know how much you know about Lincoln Prep, but or if you know anything at all, but it's one of the top academic schools in the nation. It's been top in Missouri for the last several years. A lot of the kids here have to maintain a 2.5 GPA. Yeah, just to be at the school, or they'll send you out of the school. You'll get put on probation for a semester if you don't hit that 2.5, and then after that they'll send you out. So it's a really high academic blue ribbon school. Our football team is really good, by the way. Just it might be something that you want to look into. We have 3 of the top recruits in the nation. One of our kids, Tobekai, is got about 20 Division I offers as a junior. We got a kid that committed to Arkansas, and another kid that committed to Iowa State. And the whole class, that whole 2021 class is really stacked.
Okay. Well, Coach, what I would encourage you to do, like I tell all the guys that when we recruit, a lot of times, you know, we'll get guys on the back end. We start getting guys in December and January. By that time, I try to, you know, run the shop kind of like the FBS guys do. When we go out for the second time, you know, for our 2019 kids, like we did this time, we went out in January. We were looking for juniors and sophomores then. You know, we already identified the guys. So if you would get me your list now, you know, get it to me now. We'll get them. We use the XO system. You know, we have a front rush system where we rank our guys and stuff like that. And if we got guys on the board and they're ranked, we're going to come after them.
Okay, great. Yeah, that sounds great, Coach. I'll definitely make sure and get your information after this, and we'll make sure we start because, you know, Lincoln is a historical black high school. That was originated on, it was Votech school originally, and then has developed into, you know, one of the top premier high schools in the nation. But we want to create a funnel, a pipeline to HBCU environment because we feel like that's the key to, you know, what's going on in the world right now. We need to get back to funneling kids directly to HBCU angle first before they look into all the other things, because a lot of kids just don't really just explore that option anymore.
Well, you know, give us the option, you know, give us the opportunity to talk to those guys, because what we often find out too is, okay, yeah, he may have got an offer to Missouri and he may go to Missouri, but after a year, you know, I put my foot in that kid's house and I made an impression on him in the recruiting process. and you know, maybe he's looking for somewhere to transfer, and you've
Right.
already cultivated the relationship with him, and you know, he's going to be the first one that you look to if you developed a good relationship with him. And you know, some kids that we may have an inroad there. You know, we may know somebody there and we've gotten kids like that. You know, we've gotten some legacy kids. We've gotten kids that had, you know, what they perceived to be bigger offers, and we ended up getting them. So, and we offer a unique opportunity here because now, well, A&T is doing what we did and Hampton did what we did, but we were, up until last year, we were the only HBCU that played in a majority conference.
Right.
You know,
Ohio Valley, right? It's a whole
Ohio Valley Conference. You know, we're in there with Eastern Kentucky, Eastern Illinois, Southeast Missouri, Jacksonville State, Tennessee Tech, Tennessee Martin, Austin Peay, and it's a really good conference. But we still play, you know, we still play Jackson State, which is an HBCU every year. We sprinkle Florida A&M in there some. So we still play some HBCU schools. I think about 3. Now next year, we won't because we got Mississippi State in 2021, so that's a money game. Obviously, you know, we got to play a couple of those. We played Vanderbilt twice in the last 4 years. You know, I think we probably should have beat them, not this past year, but last year. We were up at halftime, and, you know, we were driving with, I think, 4 minutes to play, and we lost by 3, and we missed a field goal in that game. So, you know, we've had some opportunities to play against some good talent. We beat Georgia State a couple of years ago. So in 2017, we beat Georgia State, which is perceived to be, you know, the FBS G5 school. So we don't shy away from those because we have those kind of players. We get those kind of players. So we're really excited about our program, man. And we would love to, like I say, cultivate that opportunity and get an inroad up into that area.
Yeah, it'd be great. I'll definitely make that happen because, you know, as an AD, I want as many of these kids to get opportunities. And I try to encourage them to look outside of the state, you know, because if Missouri is not recruiting you, which I feel like that in-state recruiting is lax in our state big time, but that's a whole nother topic. I don't know why Missouri doesn't recruit as much in-state talent as they can, but that's just philosophy, I guess. But for me, I encourage them to go out of state because, I mean, I think the first couple of years of college is where you really become a man, and that's really where you really learn about yourself and what you really are about. So for me, I want to funnel as many of them as possible and give them an opportunity to get that, you know, that education supplemented for and just build some life skills on top of it because we all, a small percentage make it to the NFL or whatever, but those life skills you learn that 4 or 5 years carries you for the rest of your life. So
that's for sure.
Hey, Coach Reed.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, what I want you to talk about, and this was perfect segue into it, how nurturing a HBCU is to our kids versus these big universities, because you don't have to fit in at an HBCU. Everybody comes to the same. Talk about your campus and how the transition from high school to an HBCU is.
Man, I can tell you, you know, we fight a lot of recruiting battles because, you know, we're in the state of Tennessee. Now you got Memphis, you got MTSU, you got University of Tennessee, you got Tennessee Tech, Tennessee Martin, Austin Peay. You know, not to mention all of the daggum D3 programs, D2 programs that we have. So, you know, we have to fight, especially the big 3 first, and then the 3 schools that are in our conference. And, you know, the recruiting process, you know, we go through that. And a lot of times, you know, people negative recruit us. So we don't recruit that way. But when we get guys here, the first thing they're going to say is, man, I didn't know this campus was like this. That's the biggest thing, getting guys on campus. Because we're only one of 6, I want to say, FCS schools in the country that has an indoor facility. A lot of people don't know that. We play our ball games at Nissan Stadium where the Titans play. You know, we have a locker room and all that stuff down there. But when those guys get here, man, it's a family atmosphere. We want to treat it as such. It's like right now, any kid that has ever played for me, I'm not going to say any kid because a couple of them may have left teed off, whatever. But you talk about my guys like DRC that's in the NFL, Anthony Levine, Terrell Bonds, Kadeem Edwards, all those guys are just a phone call away here. And every opportunity that they get, they're back on campus. Whether it's homecoming, whether it's spring football game, or they get some breaks in winter conditions, because we fostered that that family type atmosphere, man. They know that they can call us at a drop of a hat. Kid may need to get in. Dominique will call me, or Anthony Levine is more so than Dominique. I mean, he'll call me, Coach, I'm gonna be in town. Can I get the weight room open? Some of the guys want to work out with me, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, sure, if I got to come up there and do it myself. But I'm on the phone with the kids all the time. They call just so Anthony will call just so I can talk to LJ. Dominique, so I can talk to Lil Neek. That's just the atmosphere.
And this is what I want to say. You're talking about your program, but that goes throughout the university. All the coaches know you. All the teachers know you,
right,
and they speak to you as you on the yard, and that's totally different from one of these big universities.
You would be surprised at the amount of emails that I would get, through the course of a semester. If a kid, screwed something up in class, or if a kid was in the student center, cutting up or something like that, they know who you are, man, and they know that, they can call Coach Reed and we're going to get it straight, or we're going to do our very best to get it straight, or whatever the case may be. And that's why I say it's like a family. We check our kids' classes. Their 8, 9 o'clock classes get checked every day. We have breakfast check every morning. On Wednesday morning, the coaches got to come and eat breakfast with their position group, and then another day during the week, you got to eat with somebody opposite your position. So we just, we like to learn about each other, know each other. And I just think that's so very important, when you're trying to build a program.
Hey, Coach Glasgow, you got any closing words that you want to talk to Coach about before we wrap this up?
First of all, Coach, thanks for taking time out of your busy, schedule. I know that this time of year for football, you're getting ready for, the summer transition when everybody's leaving, and, you got a lot of loose ends to tie up. So we appreciate you being on. What would you say we'll have a lot of athletes watch this interview, and we'll put it out on a website where, I want all of our football coaches and players to watch out so they can start building relationships and learning about the coaches. Because I think that element's missing from recruiting. It's not as personal as it used to be. It's, I'm just going to send somebody, or I'll text you or whatever. It's not face-to-face like you mentioned. So when you're recruiting a guy, what is it, what are your steps and what's your process? So look, I know it's a need position type of thing, but like just character overall, what do you look for in a kid? So when they see this, they can say, okay, well, I know what Coach Reed's looking for. Do I fit that description, or what I need to work on to get to the level where I could be by a Coach Reed at Tennessee State?
Well, first of all, you got to be able to play. You know that. You know that. And it seems that you're going to have those type of athletes that are going to be able to play at many different levels. But, when we step into that school, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to figure out, okay, this kid's a player. All right, the very next step is, okay, what are his grades? Okay, we're going to pull a transcript. We want to see, how they are in their core classes, not just, the overall GPA to kids sometimes. Well, Coach, I got a 2.8, but what do you have in your English, your math, your sciences? You know this, Coach. We're going to look at their core GPA and figure out, are these guys worth recruiting? If they got a 1.8, 1.9, which your kids obviously don't have, otherwise they wouldn't be there. But if they're at a 1.8 in the core going into the senior year, it's going to be tough for us to recruit that kid, because chances are they're not going to make it academically. And then, the other thing is the character, man. If we identify a kid, the first thing we want to do is try to, make contact with him and start some kind of dialogue. And then we want him to attend our camps, and you can learn a lot about the kid's demeanor, about his personality from the camps that they come to. And if we don't have an opportunity to get to the camp, we really like the kid, we'll get a coach up there to recruit, do some home visits or whatever the case may be, have an opportunity to kind of see what kind of kid he is, go to the school. And believe it or not, when I'm recruiting, man, I'll talk to anybody in the school about a kid.
Right.
You can probably learn more from the janitor or the assistant in the principal's office. When I go into school and I want to see a kid, I always ask, hey, what do you think about such and such? And you can tell by a person's response what they really think about them. Sometimes people will give you the company line,
right.
but, Other times, people will talk to you about them, and they'll give you some insight on what you can expect when you sit down and talk to that kid, because every kid is going to be respectful enough to a college coach to sit in a meeting and yes, sir, no, sir, to death. But you want to try to find that true character of a kid. You want kids from winning programs, kid that, that you don't have to chase around the yard, you get to go to class and things of that nature. So you want to recruit kids that have, that innate ability to be self-starters. And all of them are not going to have that. But the majority of your people, those are the people that you're looking for. You're looking for competitors. You're looking for kids that are not going to be problems in the classroom. You're looking for kids, obviously, like we said, with good athletes that are good athletes and that can play. And, don't get stuck on, I only play this or I only play that. I like, guys that I've seen on both sides of the ball. Because, when recruiting the wideout, well, as a freshman, sometime that wideout going to have to go down and hit somebody on kickoff. Right. That running back's going to have to go hit somebody on kickoff or be on the punt team or something like that. So it's important that, kids, show different elements of their game.
Great.
Hey, Coach, I want to inform you that we have a primary Black Coaches Association, and it's called the City of Fountain Coaches Association. And Coach Glasgow plays a major part, and we'll be getting back with you because with our HBCU coaches in the different sports, it doesn't cost anything to join. We want to get them involved because we will be putting on football camps here, and we'll be asking coaches to come and participate in those camps.
And I'll tell you what, that's important because now we've just had to cancel a bunch of our camps for the summer because of this COVID-19. And we don't know if we'll reschedule because if and when they do allow camps, they're going to be camps popping up all over the state of Tennessee. And it may be more advantageous for us to go out and go to these other camps than to try to, risk, getting the camp and getting, 40 guys to sign up for it or 15 guys to sign up for it. So we will be out, seeking those camps. And Coach Glasgow, I will say this, I've been on Zoom calls the last week or so. We went with the Florida, there was an athletic director, Ira Childress, down in South Florida. We had 180 guys on that call, and there were 4 or 5 HBCU coaches on that call. I've been on the Zoom call with the minority coaches in Georgia, the minority coaches in Alabama, and the minority coaches in Tennessee. So we welcome these kind of calls. I had my whole staff on those calls. And some of them it was just me, but if you guys want to, get together, talk some ball or whatever the case may be, or get me set up with me and, there are other coaches that do it. Willie Simmons is really, me and Willie, we kind of enemies on the field, but great guy. Chennis Berry, the new coach of Benedict, we've done a couple of these calls with these minority coaches groups or just, area coaching groups. We're really excited about doing that kind of stuff. So, we love to talk ball, man. And if you, for whatever reason, just want to talk some ball and you ever in the area, man, look us up over here at Tennessee State.
Hey, Coach, Coach Glasgow will be getting back with you because he's Director of Operations for the City of Fountain Coaches Association. Okay. And those are the type of things that we're looking to do, really to bridge that gap between our HBCU coaches and our high school coaches.
Absolutely.
That are in the Midwest. And he's going to be on top of that. And before the summer's out, I'm sure he'll be giving you a call to see whether you can get 25 coaches on and chop it up.
Okay.
What would you have to say in your closing comments?
I just say, hey, thanks for having me on, man. And, I went a little longer than we originally talked, but when I get talking ball and talking to good people, man, sometimes the time just flies. I do have another meeting to get to, but this was great. I think, I made a new friend today in Coach Glasgow.
For sure.
Cultivate this relationship and, get some things going with some of his athletes up there on that end.
No doubt.
All right. As we say in closing, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.